Have you ever felt that your mind is not the same anymore? That you're forgetting small things, getting easily distracted, losing focus on simple tasks? Perhaps you blame fatigue, age, or the daily rush. But what if the real problem is inside your brain, asking for help while you ignore the signs? How many times do you wake up already tired, without energy, with that feeling of mental fog that doesn't seem to go away? How many times do you catch yourself saying, it's just lack of sleep, it's just stress, everyone feels this way? Deep down, you know something is different, that the pace is heavy, that your mind no longer keeps up like before, and that there are days when it even seems difficult to remember what you were going to do 2 minutes ago. You walk into a room and forget why. You start a sentence and lose your train of thought halfway through. You look at your phone and don't remember what you were going to search for. You stand in the supermarket trying to recall the item that was so important you repeated it mentally 3 times not to forget. These are small lapses that, in isolation, seem insignificant, but when added together form a worrying picture. And what's most frightening is realizing that this is becoming frequent, almost normal part of your routine. The uncomfortable truth is that many of us normalize cognitive decline. We accept as inevitable the fact that the mind becomes slower, foggier, more forgetful. We treat it as if it were just part of aging, when in reality it may be a cry for help from our brain, an urgent request for adequate nutrition, rest, and real care. Have you noticed how difficult it's been to finish a book when before you devoured entire chapters effortlessly? How a deep conversation seems to require more energy than it should? How you need to reread the same paragraph of an email 3 times to understand the content? These signs are not normal. They are warnings from your body saying that something needs to change. Now imagine if there existed a natural food, simple, accessible, a fruit, capable of helping your brain recover, strengthen memory, bring more focus, and even protect your neurons from the wear of time. A fruit so powerful that doctors and researchers around the world can't stop talking about it. And most impressive, this fruit may be closer to you than you imagine, perhaps even in your kitchen, waiting to be rediscovered and valued. It contains compounds that stimulate good brain function, increase vitality, and help recover what many believed was lost forever: mental clarity, the ability to concentrate, sharp memory. We're not talking about miraculous promises or magic solutions sold in expensive bottles. We're talking about real, solid science, studies conducted at renowned universities, results observed and documented in thousands of people who decided to give their brain the fuel it truly needs and deserves. But before revealing the name of this fruit, it's important to understand something essential. Forgetfulness, mental fatigue, and lack of concentration are not just part of modern life. They are clear signs that the body is asking for help, that something needs to change now before the damage becomes deeper. They are silent but urgent requests for more rest, adequate nutrition, and conscious care. The brain, this extraordinary organ that controls everything we are, think, and feel, doesn't adapt to rush. It needs time, clean energy, and real food, not processed and empty substitutes. Think of the brain as a sophisticated state-of-the-art engine. It consumes about 20% of all the energy the body produces, despite representing only 2% of body weight. This incredibly complex organ, with its approximately 86 billion neurons, and trillions of synaptic connections, works non-stop, day and night, coordinating every thought, every movement, every emotion, every heartbeat. And like any high-performance engine, it needs the correct fuel to function at its best, at its maximum potential. When we feed the brain with refined sugar, trans fats, processed foods, and nutritionally empty products, we're basically putting adulterated fuel in a precision engine. Over time, this engine begins to fail. Connections become slow, communication between neurons deteriorates, memory falters, focus disappears like fog in the sun, and then we begin to experience that frustrating feeling of functioning below our potential, knowing there's something better within us but unable to access it. And that's precisely where one of the most talked about, studied, and validated fruits by science in recent years comes in: the blueberry. This small blue fruit, with its mild flavor and delicate appearance, has aroused enormous curiosity among experts worldwide because it contains anthocyanins, powerful compounds that help protect brain cells and stimulate new connections between neurons. These remarkable substances combat oxidative stress, a silent but devastating process that, over time, wears down the brain and negatively affects memory, focus, learning ability, and even mood. Oxidative stress is like molecular rust that accumulates in neural circuits, preventing efficient communication between cells, compromising the transmission of electrical and chemical signals. The anthocyanins present in blueberries act as a powerful antioxidant, neutralizing the free radicals responsible for this progressive wear. But what makes blueberries truly special, almost unique, goes far beyond their impressive antioxidant capacity. Rigorous scientific studies show that regular consumption of blueberries can significantly increase blood flow to specific areas of the brain related to memory, learning, and information processing. processing. This means more oxygen reaching neurons, more nutrients being delivered exactly where they're needed, and better functioning of these crucial regions for cognition and our ability to live fully. Researchers at Tufts University in the United States conducted fascinating and well-documented experiments with elderly rats fed blueberry extract. The results were surprising even to the scientists themselves. The animals demonstrated significant improvement in spatial memory and physical balance tests, and detailed subsequent analyses revealed that their brains showed much fewer signs of inflammation and oxidative stress. Even more impressive, the neurons of these animals showed greater communication capacity and formation of new connections, as if they had literally rejuvenated, reversing part of the brain aging process. In studies with humans, the results are equally encouraging. Research conducted with older adults showed that daily consumption of blueberry juice for 12 weeks resulted in significant improvement in memory and executive functions. Another study followed school-age children and discovered that those who consumed blueberries at breakfast had better performance on attention and verbal memory tests conducted hours later. Imagine the brain as a garden full of intricate and delicate connections. Each neuron is a seed with immense potential. Over time, chronic stress, poor nutrition, and lack of rest act like a violent storm that destroys this garden, uprooting plants, eroding soil, compromising structure. Blueberries function like a light and nutritious rain that helps the soil regenerate, bringing essential minerals, favoring the rebirth of connections, stimulating the growth of new sprouts. But the secret isn't in eating blueberries occasionally, on special occasions. It's in correct use, in gentle consistency, in genuine and loving incorporation of this fruit into daily eating routine. Studies clearly show that constant consumption, even in small quantities, brings real and lasting benefits that accumulate over time. No exaggeration is necessary. There's no need to eat kilos of blueberries every day. What makes the real difference is regularity, quiet persistence. The ideal is to include them regularly and pleasurably. A generous handful at breakfast, mixed with whole natural yogurt, oatmeal, homemade granola, or in a creamy smoothie. And the darker and more intense the color of the blueberry, the greater the antioxidant power it carries. This deep blue pigment is a true visual sign of the vitality it delivers. The body recognizes, absorbs, and thanks. When you chew a fresh blueberry, you're releasing hundreds of bioactive compounds that will begin working in favor of your brain within hours, crossing the blood-brain barrier and exercising their protective effects. A practical, delicious, and nutritious way to consume blueberries is to prepare a complete morning smoothie. Blend a cup of frozen or fresh blueberries, a ripe banana, some whole natural yogurt, a tablespoon of rolled oats, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, and if desired, a touch of pure honey. This simple breakfast delivers a true nutrient bomb that will sustain your brain throughout the morning, providing stable and lasting energy, clear and sharp focus, and balanced mood. Frozen blueberries are an excellent option, especially in regions where fresh fruit isn't always available or is prohibitively priced. The freezing process preserves almost all nutrients, and often blueberries are frozen at peak ripeness when their nutritional content is at maximum. Additionally, adding frozen fruit to smoothies creates a creamier and more refreshing texture, without the need for ice. But the blueberry, as powerful as it is, doesn't work alone in this neural regeneration mission. There's a much more common fruit present in almost all Brazilian homes that hides a surprising and often underestimated strength: the orange. It's world famous for being an excellent source of vitamin C, but it goes far, far beyond that. It contains diverse flavonoids and folic acid, which help with brain circulation, carrying more oxygen and vital nutrients to neurons. It's as if it cleans the congested streets of this mental city, allowing thoughts to flow better, faster, with more clarity. The vitamin C abundantly present in oranges isn't just important for the immune system, as we all learned. It plays an absolutely crucial role in the synthesis of neurotransmitters, the fundamental chemical substances that allow communication between neurons. Without adequate and constant vitamin C, this communication becomes seriously impaired, resulting in confused thoughts, failing memory, learning difficulty, and even depressive symptoms that can be confused with psychiatric disorders. The flavonoids in oranges, in turn, have repeatedly demonstrated in studies the remarkable ability to improve cognitive function in adults of all ages, from young students to the elderly. These compounds help strengthen brain blood vessels, making them more flexible and resistant, reduce chronic inflammation that destroys neurons, and can even stimulate the birth of new neurons in specific areas of the brain. A process called neurogenesis that for a long time was believed to be impossible in adult life, but which modern science has confirmed to be real and possible. The nutritional secret lies in consuming it with the white pith, not just the strained juice. Natural fibers regulate energy release and avoid the dreaded glucose spikes that severely disrupt focus and cause that mental fatigue that appears shortly after consuming pure sugar. When you drink only orange juice, even if natural and freshly squeezed, you're consuming mainly the natural sugar of the fruit, the simple carbohydrates without the protective fibers that modulate its absorption. The result is a rapid and intense spike in blood glucose, followed by an equally abrupt drop, leaving you tired, irritable, with difficulty concentrating and craving more sugar, creating a vicious cycle. By eating the whole orange with its juicy segments and nutritious membranes, you ensure that sugars are released slowly and in a controlled manner into the bloodstream, providing constant, stable, and lasting energy. It's the fundamental difference between burning premium quality gasoline and burning adulterated fuel with impurities. The final result in mental and physical performance is completely different. Remarkable. And an interesting curiosity that few know, the natural and fresh aroma of orange peel has proven calming effects, helping reduce acute stress and bringing emotional balance in moments of tension. The essential oil present in the peel contains limonene, a compound that scientific studies associate with reduced anxiety, improved mood, and even mild antidepressant effects. Therefore, when peeling an orange, breathe deeply and consciously, allow that fresh and vibrant citrus aroma to enter your nostrils. You're literally inhaling well-being, molecules of happiness. Now think of another powerful ally that deserves much more recognition and respect than it generally receives. The avocado. For a long time, for decades, this fruit was misunderstood, unjustly considered too caloric, villain of fad diets, something to be avoided by those seeking health and good shape. Today, science knows with absolute certainty that avocado is one of the greatest natural sources of good fat, essential and irreplaceable for the brain. It contains oleic acid in abundance, the same type of monounsaturated fat found in celebrated extra virgin olive oil, which reinforces neuronal membranes and dramatically improves communication between nerve cells. The brain is literally composed of fat. Approximately 60% of its dry mass is made up of diverse lipids. Therefore, providing superior quality fats is fundamental, not optional, to maintain brain structure and function at optimal levels, allowing clear thinking and sharp memory. Additionally, avocado powerfully helps with prolonged satiety and control of food anxiety, that uncontrollable urge to snack every hour, contributing to a more balanced, conscious, and less impulsive eating pattern. It's also rich in vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that protects the delicate cell membranes of neurons against oxidative damage, and in potassium, which helps maintain blood pressure at healthy levels, ensuring better and more constant blood flow to the brain. A generous slice of avocado at breakfast, spread on real whole grain bread or added to a colorful salad, can completely transform the nutritional quality of the meal and your mental state in the following hours. You'll feel the remarkable difference in prolonged satiety that persists for hours, in mood stability even in the face of stressors, and in crystalline mental clarity that persists for hours after the meal without those typical energy crashes. And as if all this nutritional arsenal weren't enough, the banana enters the scene. One of the simplest fruits, most accessible in any market, cheapest, and most powerful that exist. It contains tryptophan, an essential amino acid for the production of serotonin, the famous well-being and happiness hormone. Banana acts silently but profoundly effectively, naturally balancing mood and significantly contributing to deeper, restorative, and regenerative sleep. Serotonin isn't just the happiness hormone as popularly known. It regulates numerous vital processes in the body, including the sleep-wake cycle, appetite and satiety, body temperature, sexual function, and even the perception of physical pain. Adequate circulating serotonin levels are strongly associated with better perceived quality of life, greater psychological resilience to daily stress, and lower incidence of mood disorders like depression and anxiety. And it all starts with simple and accessible nutrients like the tryptophan present in the humble banana. Additionally, banana is a rich source of vitamin B6, absolutely essential for the efficient conversion of tryptophan into serotonin within the brain. It's like having the correct ingredients and the precise recipe. You need both for the final result to be perfect and functional. Banana also provides moderate and controlled release carbohydrates, which help tryptophan cross the blood-brain barrier and reach the brain, where it will be transformed into serotonin and melatonin, essential hormones. Banana is also an exceptional source of potassium, a mineral crucial for nerve and muscle function, including the heart muscle. A medium banana contains about 400 milligrams of potassium, contributing significantly to the recommended daily intake. Potassium helps regulate fluid balance in the body, keeps blood pressure under control, and ensures that electrical signals can travel through nerves efficiently. All these fruits together form a true elite team. Blueberry protects brain cells against damage, orange activates and energizes circulation and metabolism, avocado structures and strengthens cell membranes, and banana balances mood and promotes restoration. All complement each other in a wonderful and synergistic way. This intelligent combination is what nutrition experts call nutritional synergy, when nutrients help each other, interacting in complex ways, potentiating results so that the sum becomes exponentially greater than the individual parts. Think of this as a professional symphony orchestra. Each musician, playing their instrument alone, can produce beautiful and pleasant melodies. But when everyone plays together, following the same score, with perfect harmony, rehearsed synchrony, and shared emotion, the result is a magnificent symphony that deeply moves and transforms those who hear it. The same phenomenon happens with these nutrients working together inside your body. They work cooperatively, each performing their specific and unique function, but all harmoniously contributing to the desired final result: a healthy, active, balanced, resilient, and vibrant brain. But it's not only nutrition that profoundly influences brain health and quality of life. The brain also critically depends on adequate and constant hydration, restorative quality sleep, and regular breaks throughout the day. One of the most common errors, and also most harmful to brain health, is seriously underestimating the fundamental importance of pure water. The brain is composed of more than 70% water, and even slight dehydration of just 1 or 2% already significantly and measurably reduces focus, logical reasoning ability, short-term memory, and good mood. Rigorous scientific studies demonstrate that dehydration of just 2% of body weight, something you might not consciously perceive without feeling intense thirst, already causes measurable and documented decline in cognitive performance. Short-term memory suffers notably, sustained attention decreases, reaction time dangerously increases, problem-solving ability declines. It's like trying to run a complex and heavy program on an old computer with insufficient RAM. Everything becomes slower, more stuck, more frustrating, more difficult. Therefore, an essential and transformative tip is to unite fruits naturally rich in water and electrolytes, such as juicy orange, refreshing watermelon, sweet strawberry, and tropical pineapple, with a good conscious hydration routine throughout the entire day. Water is the fundamental vehicle that transports precious nutrients to hungry neurons, that efficiently removes toxic degradation products from intense brain metabolism, that maintains adequate blood volume to ensure constant and sufficient flow of oxygen and glucose to the working brain. A practical strategy is to start the day drinking 1 or 2 large glasses of room temperature water right upon waking, even before coffee. During the night, the body goes hours without ingesting liquids, and we wake naturally dehydrated. Rehydrating the body and brain immediately in the morning prepares the nervous system to function at maximum capacity from the first hours of the day. When the body finally begins to receive exactly what it needs, the changes are noticeable, surprising, and often exciting. Reasoning becomes more agile and fluid, mood more stable and positive, and memory more alive and reliable. It's as if the mind began to breathe deeply again, as if a long closed window were finally opened in a stuffy and dark room, allowing fresh air, sunlight, and energy to circulate freely and completely renew the environment. And all this without unnecessary complication, without exaggerated and empty promises, without impossible, expensive, or inaccessible solutions. Professor Helena, for example, firmly believed she was becoming forgetful due to age. At 52 years old, still a young age, she noticed with growing concern that she had increasing difficulty remembering names of students she'd known for years, keeping up with multiple tasks simultaneously during the school day, maintaining attentive focus during long pedagogical meetings. She was seriously considering early retirement, thinking her brain simply couldn't handle the cognitive demands of the profession she loved. Over time, in a routine medical appointment to renew prescriptions, she discovered through tests and detailed conversations that the problem wasn't chronological age, but rather accumulated chronic fatigue and completely unbalanced nutrition for years. Decades skipping breakfast due to rush, quick, and nutritionally inadequate lunches, late and heavy dinners that disrupted sleep, practically zero fresh fruits and vegetables. Her body and brain were literally starving, desperate for real and bioavailable nutrients. She decided, with medical and nutritional support, to make gradual and sustainable changes. She included blueberries at breakfast mixed with whole oats and whole natural yogurt. She began eating a whole orange during class breaks, chewing the segments calmly and attentively, taking advantage of the moment as a small, meditative, and restorative pause. And she added half an avocado before sleeping, often simply with a little sea salt and lemon. Simple, delicious, and nutritious. In just a few weeks, only 3 or 4, Helena felt her reasoning lighter, more agile, and vital energy, returning in a way she hadn't experienced in many years. In 2 months of consistency, she was remembering students' names again effortlessly, actively participating in long meetings without losing the thread or feeling extreme fatigue, and feeling genuine and renewed enthusiasm for the profession she chose. She didn't radically and completely change her life overnight. She just offered her brain, with loving consistency, the clean fuel it always needed but never received. Juan, a 43-year-old rideshare driver and father of 2 small children, lived trapped in a vicious and destructive cycle of extreme fatigue and constant irritability. Working 12, sometimes 14 or 15 hours a day to pay bills, his diet consisted basically of cheap fast food, sugary sodas, and chemical energy drinks. He honestly thought he needed refined sugar and synthetic caffeine to maintain artificial energy, when in reality these industrialized products were systematically destroying his cognitive capacity, emotional well-being, and general health. After a series of unnecessary intense discussions with passengers, some unfair negative ratings, and near-serious accidents caused by lack of attention and slow reflexes, Juan finally realized with alarm that he urgently needed to change something. He couldn't reduce working hours due to tight financial issues, but he could definitely change what he put in his body, the fuel he offered his working brain.